Okay.
Should have kept that. Content's content, man.
Yeah, I know. Hey, it's just important enough to go back. We could still touch on that for sure.
Bob's shouting now.
Yeah.
I'm alright. We can cut that part out.
I'm spray farting, and only part of the material is catching.
Hold that for analysis, sir. No need to analysis. Take an analysis of the first.
This is I was gonna say, this is the true reason you wipe down your shopping carts.
This is all allegorical.
Yeah, right.
Cautionary tale.
Parts are a metaphor.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
My uncle used to say he's blowing me a kiss.
I've heard that before. It must have been from you.
Oh,
I've
geez.
heard that one.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
So, on that note, everybody, whoa, I should have just smoked that. Everybody, welcome back. This is another episode of Natives in America podcast, and I'm here with Sky, that you guys all know. Where you at, Sky? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Okay, and then we got hell yeah. We got Maegan Lopez with us today. She's today's guest, and the three of us go way back, and we're happy to have you, Meg. So I'm glad you answered the call here.
I was looking at the caller ID, and I'm like, I shan't not. No, of course. I haven't talked to you in so long, and Guys has reconnected with recently doing some work. So I'm happy to stay in the loop.
Yeah.
Checking on, so.
Yeah, it's this growing up shit that we've been doing where it kind of pulls us apart, pulls everybody apart. It's like everybody you talk to forever, and suddenly you don't hear from in years.
The hustle. The hustle.
Yeah. We're glad to have you here, because now we can replay this after and be like, yeah, that was an awesome episode.
Yeah.
Right? I'm telling Sky, it's just like those times, like, listening to you guys. I did listen to prior podcasts. And I was like, this is just like hanging out at Sky's house back in the day.
Yeah.
Sitting in the backyard, looking at the moon and Babu.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking it up.
Well,
about your shit.
Talking shit. Of course.
Right about the time all this stuff started, like COVID and all that, like I think it was still pretty fresh, and me and Sky, like, we hadn't hung out since it all started, and we were kind of like, oh, should we hang out? I don't know, like, oh, the rules, the rules, can't go visit and all that, and I think we each had beer. He had beer at his house, I had beer at my house, and I was like, well, why don't we just try calling each other's? And like, he called me up, and we got shit faced, like. I think we talked on the phone like 2 or 3 hours, just drunk and like just talking. Like, hey, that just works out. Like I think we were already. I definitely was already thinking like, hey, let's do a podcast, and I've been thinking and looking for a partner, like somebody to bounce ideas off of, and. That was like shortly later than we had our drunken call, and it was great. So, that this is an extension of drunken calls here.
Right, yeah. The evolution of drunken calls.
Yeah,
ongoing combo.
Beautiful.
No, but with that one time that we were talking, it was weird because it was like, I don't know how we were doing it, but it was like we were both watching YouTube videos at the same time.
Yeah.
But I don't know how we were doing that. Like, I didn't know the phones were capable of doing stuff like that. So,
yeah, right.
Fun fact, but
Yeah.
I used to say we were like Beavis and Butthead. Just kind of talking, watching these videos.
Or Mystery Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Lately I've been like Wayne's World. I think it could be Wayne's World, kind of.
Dude, this is totally my Wayne's World.
Yes.
We're broadcasting from my garage.
Wayne's World.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Yeah. And one of you guys, or both of you, growing a mullet yet?
Holy shit. All right, so it's random that you bring that up, because what the hell was I was watching Stranger Things, and everybody's got like really jacked up hair like from that time, and I was like, damn, how sexy can a mullet get? Like this one guy, my neighbor next door, he has this like just out there brother, and he has like the most fantastic mullet. Like his hair is pitch black and it's real thick and it's like wavy. And I remember when I first saw the guy, I was like, whoa, like, oh my god, like he had like the sleeveless leather vest, or not, jean, it was jean jacket vest, sleeveless, and he had it open, his shirt was open, he had like gold and a hairy chest and this freaking killer mullet, and I was like, I saw his aura, you know. I was like, whoa.
The party in the back as the business was happening.
Yes.
Status.
You could go to the business meeting and party afterwards.
Yes. Wow, the aura. I've never actually seen it, but I've heard tons about the mullet. Wow.
Well, when you have your chance, you know, just keep your eyes open. It's out there. Anyway, long story short, I considered, like, for a short minute, like last week, maybe a couple days ago, I was just like, about to shave these sides and start a party in the back here. Maybe grow a rat tail.
I was gonna say dabble with that, with the rat tail and see how far you the side coming out the side.
Hell yeah.
Just taking up the ears. Did you grow chops? Did you grow mutton chops?
I basically have mutton chops already because I haven't had a haircut in forever, yeah.
Holy shit.
I got like 3-inch mullet chops, you know, and I mean like 3 inches from my face.
You meant 3 it's 3 inches of thickness.
3 inches of manliness on my face.
Alright. We classify that.
There you go.
I don't, my son's hair grows very fast, and the cue I have, I don't know many cues for how, fast you should be cutting boy hair, because it grows faster, right?
Yeah, so, I don't know.
Every time I know to suggest a haircut is when the sideburns are growing super long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
yeah. Years, and, just, it looks crazy.
Well, according to that plan, I am way long overdue.
Take a trimmer, man. You guys have your personal, trimmers at home? No, apparently not, because you would have done it already, right?
Actually, I did shave my own head a few times, so I have a clippers. Handy dandy. A few times, I'll let it grow for a while, then after, if I can't stand it, in the summer.
Yeah.
Because then with long sideburns in the summer and it's all hot, that's annoying.
Right. I don't understand.
Yeah. But I don't go to barbers, really.
Yeah.
So kind of trust myself or trust somebody close.
I've been told not to cut my son's hair by a barber. I've been instructed by a professional not to do it. So.
I just want the money. It's on the business. Yeah.
Like, hey, do I come to your house and do your job? I just take over your mothering. Like, you need to stay out of my barbershop.
He was being very critical of my bangs, the work I did on his bangs, I guess.
Well, in my family, there's a tradition of what we call the Juan family bangs, and that's like just a straight across the forehead, you know, damn near bowl cut hairdo. Yeah, and that's from my mom.
I totally know that cut. I recognize it.
If you look on our wall, we have like portraits from I don't know how many. Like, there's probably about 10 portraits throughout the years, and in at least one of them, like every other photo has some Juan family bangs in it, and it goes from me to my mom, then to my sister, and then my dad. So I don't think any of our kids are Juans until they've had their bangs fought up.
Oh, that's a nice tradition to tie to, I guess.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah. I got a set of bangs when I was a kid too. Not pretty. And it's the same thing. It was cut straight across. Terrible, uneven, straight across.
Okay, and on that note, if you can send me a picture of that'll be your video picture right there.
Yeah, okay, what the hell?
Oh yeah. What about you, Sky? What kind of adventures have you gone on with that thick hair of yours?
I don't know, but lately I've been like, man, I want to go do some cornrows.
Oh damn!
I don't know why, but I don't know anybody that does cornrows, so I'm kind of like.
Well, get on that, brother.
Is that a possibility? But like Snoop Dogg.
What about the hair salon themselves? I think they do that kind of like.
Yeah.
Oh, but you don't go to barbers. You need to.
Yeah, no, I'm just more. I'm trying to get it like for a trade.
Right. Well, I'm working on my roping, so maybe once I learn how to spin the rope.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Right, rope kind of hair.
She comes from the rope game, man. The rope game, that's a lot deeper.
That's crazy. Like, is there a rope with human hair?
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, my instructor, the apprentice, he brought it out of his kit. It was his own hair he made with his dad.
Nice.
And it's a nice, long rope of flock, and it's durable.
It's sturdy?
Oh.
Damn.
Like over 20 years old, I think, 30 years old.
Wow. Did you already have that class?
I'm having another one on Friday. And I had one last Friday, but I was in too many meetings that day. I was logged into too many. And but his was really, really good. I can show you guys the link to his instructions because it's a U of A class, and so he's just talking to a class.
Yeah.
In a Zoom meeting.
Well, I was gonna say, can you explain to the listeners what exactly this class is?
The Folklore Alliance with the University of Arizona's Humanities for the Arts, I think is the name of the organization. They do a lot of not-profit and grants and just a bunch of stuff. They have their fingers in a bunch of stuff. They're responsible for Tucson Meet Yourself.
Oh.
And all of that type of sharing, cultural sharing. And this particular gentleman, his name is Jesus, he put in an application to be an apprentice, and I would be the learner.
Yeah.
And I have to write a piece about why I wanted to do this. And yeah, I delve into my childhood because I remember harvesting the buckwheat out with my grandparents, like, as early as 4.
Nice.
And I didn't know what to do, but I was watching them, and I can remember how high it was and how busy the side of Benton Highway was, and I can account for so many little steps to that process of harvesting it and then bundling it, cleaning it, and separating it and then giving it to the community members who still did it at the time. I mean, I think there's still basket weavers out there, but that's just what we were doing at the time. And this apprentice, would have me kind of dig into the history of not only fibers and rope making, fibers that are natural, like horsehair, but also agave fibers.
Yeah.
A bunch of different. He brought out a bunch of different fibers that you can use, but not only just that. Like I mentioned, hair, and then he had plastic bags. And he's like, you can look at anything after you learn this, and just think of how you can make it into rope. And so he brought out different things like that, and he's just always going. He's always talking about different things that go into different things, like the tools. The tools are really old. They're not electric or anything. It's just wood and your arm power and the concentration you have to keep going with the. So there's one end of the material being spun by one person, and the other end is the other person twisting and twisting and twisting until it's completely tight, and then you twist more into that twist, and you just keep going for as long as you want, and make a thick or thin rope, and there's just that, I guess, concentration, and his other goal is to continue this tradition into the next generation.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people our age, for sure, are that bridge between that older generation and the younger generation under us and beyond, our own children, basically. So it's an endeavor to try and keep it alive through materials that have been used for 2 generations past, at least, or maybe 2 or 3.
Oh, that's sweet. Really
I'm learning a lot, there's a lot of history in it, and both of us have history, our ancestry ties back to people that made it. So I'm learning a lot about my family history and where I'm from and just cowboy stuff, I guess.
Wow.
Does the technique you're learning, does it always take 2 people?
Yes. One to spin and one to, and then there's another one where there's 2 different, I guess, twisting going on at the same time. So, and this one is it's a method that you have to use with these 2 boards, and it has they look like thunderbolts, these 2 metal prongs that keep these 2 boards together. But because they're shaped like zigzags, they spin. They cause a spinning reaction so that it's twisting just those fibers.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. And he's getting it made in Mexico. So that takes 3 people.
3 people.
Oh.
Yeah.
No kidding. Have you, when's the last time you went out with your family to harvest those materials?
Oh. It's been a long time, man. I can't, my grandparents are gone. I know that at TOCC they have a basket weaving class, or they did. I don't know if they still have it going on, but my cousins participated and they got really into it. Got into collecting and making their baskets. So they kept it going, I think.
Have you ever showed your son?
Showed him how to harvest?
Harvest or rope make or start a basket?
So when I was writing this, I was trying to think what to even write about at the beginning. Yeah. So I just started off with a conversation about how I grew up and the difference, and it caused me to think about the major differences of how I grew up in that little village out there, Newfields, and now how my son is raised completely different here in the city. Yeah. And so just describing the differences and how simple life seemed then.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about all of this tying together and the stories I'm telling him is that he's a part of it. He's a part of the rope making. Jesus asked that him and my sister be a part of it to like keep with the generations and including them in part of the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, there's...
So,
oh, go ahead.
Also, earlier we were kind of, I don't mean to throw us off topic, but we were talking about the summer program that we all did, and kind of like, not starting from there, but like, you still, I guess, what did you take away from doing that? Yeah, that's, I think I was, there's a lot of stuff we were talking about, but I was already kind of planning this question. But do you still reminisce about that time, or was it impactful, or was it just another summer?
It was 2, 3, 4 summers, I think. Like, I kept going back, and I would go to Benji to just get kind of advisement about that a couple of times, I think, because I didn't even know if they wanted me back or if it would have been a good idea. But the first time, I think that was, when I was 15, we were one of the youngest, myself and Benji and Elise, I think, we were one of the youngest to join that program, right?
Yeah.
So it was a big deal for all of them, Elise, Whitty, Dr. Whitty, and her group who was trying, who made the effort to go out there. Charles Whitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really influenced me to think outside the box, and the fact that they made their way out there to our school and try to make impacts that way was pretty profound, now that I think back on it. And the money was pretty awesome. Yeah. And, I mean, thinking back on it, like, we were part of an elite crew of biomedical researchers, and, I mean, Dr. Jack Copeland was one of the most famous doctors there, and he was also, training us to think and to be a part of our project. He was, for a moment, he would come in and out, and we'd be in meetings and see him. That was pretty amazing. Because now I tell people where my humble beginnings were, they do know who that guy is. Yeah. And I'm pretty surprised. And I'm just some kid from the res, who decided to check it out and came back with all of this insight. And then the second time around, I didn't know whether to go back. But Benji was, he was already there, and there was a lot of students that came from the school by then, so, it just felt like, okay, this is normal now. And then the last time I actually went to see Dr. Liddy to explain to her that I am going back to school and I'm all in, and I want to find something to contribute, to be a part of, to be a part of the group effort again, I guess. So she hired me on as a research student, and in 2014 I started working with this doctor named Dr. Abadov, and he is a Russian cardiothoracic surgeon, but also radiology. He did a lot of research around, like, oxygenation, like around dyes that help him see the hearts that have deoxygenated and oxygenated cells, and then where the surgeon, the cardiothoracic surgeon, goes in to alleviate whatever obstruction, Yeah. And so we were in the OR a lot with him, and he's very technical dude, very cold, like gazpacho soup. So he was always in and out. He wanted us to do research. He wanted us to do systematic research. So a lot of my time I spent trying to look for stuff, and he told us to research, look for research articles that had some findings related to medical marijuana and cardiac arrest, or anything related to like myocardial infarction, or like anything related to that.
Yeah.
And we did it, me and then some high school kids came, I mentored them, and then when the summer was over, they left, and I stayed with it, and then these two doctors came in, and I worked with them. It was just a long, dragged-out systematic review. But it got published recently. So, I think it's in the Journal of Medicine or something.
So was there anything else that you got published in besides that? Yeah.
No, dude, I think there is. I can't remember. But that one came recently, so I'm very happy about that. Because it was a long, like I said, 2014. I was still going to school. I was driving back and forth, and then living in sales, and then after that I started working for like social services again. But it certainly wasn't a throwaway summer or just another summer. It impacted my whole life, and I did want to go back into medicine, but just like always, things never turn out the way you planned.
Yeah.
So just took a different route.
Yeah, for sure.
What about, because I look back now, like, on the times where you were, like, participating with all of the science stuff, and then whatever else was going on at the times, but, like, when you finished school, like, you got that done, like, looking back at it, was it like they said it was, with like college being sold, the way it's sold, you get it done, was it what you thought it was going to be, or was it?
Shit, it's so unorthodox, man. It's so unorthodox. I think everybody's path is different, that it makes up its own mind the way it either impresses you or it doesn't.
Yeah.
I had so many things go on in my life. When I went back to school, I made a choice to quit my job and go back to school. And that was after 10 years of just working straight, Yeah. And thinking, like, I could do this. This is 2 years. But then find out, like, no, it's actually changed. The rules changed again. And the money, it's so expensive. And, I kind of thought I went in with my eyes open and willing to adhere to all the demands, but personal life just doesn't work out along those lines. It doesn't follow any straight path along saying,
yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll help you. I'll totally be there for you. Life doesn't do that. Life kicks you in the stomach and tells you to man up or lady up or, My, second week living here, I got hit by a truck, So I was coming from the U of A, and then I was on my way to pick up Max, so then I had to go back to the U of A after. And then once that happened, I was just like, you better slow down. It's not that important.
Yeah.
So you kind of decide, as a lot, like you said earlier, like growing up and having things happen and just adulting. I learned a lot from, I guess personally I learned a lot because of college, but not because of any class I took in specifically.
Yeah, well, a lot of that is completely based off of how much you put into it. And sometimes it doesn't seem like that. And then, like, if you get, like, a lower grade than what you expected, it's just like, oh no, like, or like, you would review. Yeah, I've been throwing so many curveballs and like thought like, all right, from here to here I'll be in. I think what was crazy was I went to college right out of high school.
Yeah, me too.
So when I came to town, not only was I starting my college career, which could decide the rest of my life, I was also becoming an adult and living on my own for the first time. I think you can both agree with that. And my belief now is that like you really shouldn't mix the two when you're trying to explore your adulthood and your freedom.
Yeah.
You know, drinking, partying, hanging out with the ladies or the dudes, whichever you prefer.
They seem so like they work well together, you would think, but no.
Yeah.
Or I guess to me it's like, they said 4 years, but it really took like 15 years.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
still
exactly.
Going, yeah.
But during those times, I was still learning shit, you know, so I don't know. I just had to ask because it's like, you finish, but yeah, it's like, now you gotta go into the real world and you got a paper with your name on it and you gotta somehow hustle it and get a job. That's pretty much how I felt. But I didn't know if it was the same for you.
Well, I mean, like India went right after high school, like right after high school. It's ridiculous. And I went to Flagstaff. So then I had culture shock and homesickness. And I came right back and went to Pima. But then I had my son later on, so, you know, that didn't work out. I went right into the work field, like 2 years later after high school. So that was 10 years right after that I went back to college. So I had a built-up of learned experience, and I worked in mental health and nutrition and disease management and prevention. I worked in all these different things just by being at work.
Yeah.
And I learned to like professional development. I was able to learn all kinds of things on the fly, but it's by all manner of speaking, it loves the nation. So, you know, it was kind of grunt work. It was kind of like, you know, learning as you go along from people who were maybe buzzed out or they were hungover or something. But all the same, I learned a lot. And when I went back to school, I had this goal in my head that this is what I was going to do, and I was going to accomplish it, and it was going to be great and amazing. And then all of a sudden, things changed. So then I reached out and just looked for what worked and kept going and finished, and I kept going, and I'm here, and I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with everything that's occurred so far. I'm glad I went through all of it because, yeah, everything's great. I can't complain with everything that's happening. I'm okay. My kid's healthy. I'm okay, and I got work. My work was, thank God, wasn't interrupted. We had to do a lot of things on the fly too, but there was a balance with all of it because I had the garden work outside, and then I was always inside for school work, and it's just been manageable.
Yeah. Great job.
Right.
Are you gonna go back to school, or do you got pressure, or anybody telling you that you should, or
I don't know, dude.
Do you want to?
I have so much debt right now, and if I want, you know what I want to be? I want to be like a doctor level. Now I want to have doctor level knowledge, but not worry about licensing or the bar, or you know, I don't have to worry about prescribing anything. It's just like if somebody points to a plant and says, "What's that?" and I can say, "Oh, it's this," and it can be used for that. And I'm pretty satisfied with that. You know, I like to absorb that knowledge. I like to know more about what kind of plants are best for people and us, and better the community that way. And
are you talking like holistic medicine?
I mean, I'm just talking like, I guess, yeah. I just want to be able to recognize the plants that grow around us.
Yeah.
It's good for my job, but it's also good later in life when I get older, or I like to retire someday and I want to go home. So, that would be best just to have my little ecosystem that I can grow and manage.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do.
Did you listen to Linus's episode today?
Yeah, Sky sent it to me.
Yeah, we were in some point in that episode we were talking about res life, like living on the res, and how no matter what you do when you're out in the world, that there's always home. Like you can always go back. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like each of us have gone to school and went away, like did it somewhere else off the reservation, and then like periodically throughout our lives we've gone back, back to the reservation, and it was like, returning home and getting grounded again, and then, all right, I'm going to go out in the world and go again. You have any feelings on that?
Yeah, that's my go-to, because there's just, where I'm from, it's always something. The village itself sits right next to the border, and there's just, I don't know, there's always something looming from Border Patrol asking for permission to build fencing and roads, and some of that area is like my grandparents' area, like my grandparents' burial site, and I just, it takes all of us to have an opinion about what happens to our communities and who comes on and who can do what. And I used to just think that it was a regular opinionated chief, but I am learning that it's critical as we get older that we learn what they're talking about specifically and the legal language and what these cameras are about and what these Border Patrol are actually doing and what they have permission to do and not do. And I just, my grandpa, where I have a lot, is just right there at the end of the road. And I am constantly thinking about how much more of an inch do they want to make towards us or towards Mexico. It's just always on the line.
Yeah. Yeah, those lines get blurred pretty easy out there. What I always remark on is that those guys, a lot of them don't come from here where they actually patrol. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are like from Texas and New Mexico, and they don't know anything about the Arizona life or the tribe. I'm sure they have contact with other tribes out there, but like they're completely foreign when they come into the area, and they're like, oh, well, I'm not on my land. I can kind of play around and push the lines and the limits. And I've had some scary moments where it was like these guys are children with big toys, and they're dangerous. And I was just thinking about that graveyard. I know it as like Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
Like just outside of Newfields, or I guess it's in Newfields, like where the road ends and the road keeps going, but it's dirt road. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And you just kind of go up the hill and through the wash and all that, like through a bunch of washes. Is that where your grandpa's buried?
Yeah, that's the Buenos Aires Cemetery, the upper, and then there's a lower one. And just recently we had to get that road graded again. It was so bad from whatever little washes went through there. But it didn't neglect it for so long that it was just like the Grand Canyon out there, man. It's just so big and broken. But Border Patrol, like, they encourage that, just erosion and the breakdown of the environment out there. It's just insane. Yeah. From an aerial view, they've made so many roads that it's pretty shameful. Yeah. And so it's all along that area. And I guess they made several roads that connect all the way down to that refugee camp, or like a wildlife refugee area on the other side of, I think, Albuquerque Mountain. Uh-huh. Yeah. They call it Burnt Car Wash area.
Burnt Car Wash.
Yeah, because there's a burnt car out there, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's keep it simple. I like it.
Yeah, that's for imagination.
Were you saying that the border, that the fence or wall that they were working on, are you saying was moved close to that site, the Buenos Aires? Like, can you see it from the cemetery?
No, but it's the Normandy barriers, because of the washes that are out there is basically a mountain range. Yeah. So, you're going to have a tough time. They're going to need like, if they had kept going, they would have had to, like, implode that whole area.
And they would have, too, you know.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Well, those Normandy barriers are still up on that side.
Yeah, all those, like, crazy bent up, like, I-beams and shit, like.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call it? Yeah, you're calling them Normandy barriers?
Yeah.
Like on the beach in Normandy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like that.
Jesus. Yeah.
In the desert.
I've seen a few, but it's been a long time since I was out there, maybe a year or two, so I'm kind of afraid to go look. The last time I went out there, I was driving back roads out in Vomri, and I was just trying to show my cousin around. Like, I think I actually went out to San Miguel, maybe Newfields, and we got to an area on the border that I didn't know existed. Like, it was still kind of barbed wire fences and all that, but, like, there was the road, like, there was a dirt road that I think the Border Patrol had improved, because there was, like, gravel poured all on top of it and packed down. And then right at the border, they just had this giant, like, I guess, I-beam gate. And, like, it's really just a barrier for cars. It wasn't really, like, a people barrier.
Right.
Like, you just kind of climb over it, go under it, whatever. But it was dramatic, because they also had, like, a black cock flying around.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pieces of shit. They piss me off so much. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I do want to go back. After these high school years Max is going through, I think I'm going to be ready to pack it up and head on back home.
How much longer does he got?
Well, he's a freshman, so, 4 or 5 years ought to give him some time.
Are you waiting until then to move back out there, or are you going to start heading out, like...
I have been asked what I'm going to do after he's done, and I'm just kind of giving myself that range of time to think about or look at it again, look at the map again in 4 or 5 years and see if I'm happy with where I'm at, or if I should be able to, you know what I want to do? I want to buy an Airstream and drag it down to Newfields over the summers and just little by little work at the land out there. Yeah. And then ride back home, park my Airstream and work at Hashem. And then, maybe on weekends drive out there and just little by little live in my Airstream and work on my land.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have like a little base of operations to set up anything out there. Yeah,
for real. Like Rafa did a good job by keeping it up. It's just me. I haven't been out there to take care of it. So that's the idea.
That's cool. Well, it sounds like a solid plan.
Yeah. Totally.
You always gotta have a plan. I learned that by having a kid. It's like, you always have to have things planned, just in case they're looking at you bored. Wondering what's happening.
Yeah, I think I've been wearing blinders for years now. I've finally taken them off, and it's like time to just nut. I guess the expression is nut up or shut up, or time to shit or get out the pot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love that expression. We were already talking shit talk earlier. So yeah, like sounds like a solid plan to me, and I think having any kind of plan at all is better than not, and that sounds like something you can grow on. That it'll still be an adventure, and it'll still be a learning experience.
Hell yeah, man!
Holy
I just want to be happy. Isn't that what we're all striving to be? It's just happy.
Yeah.
I just want to be happy, and wherever that is, that's where I'll be.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, I got you, man.
We're going off subject again, but since you've listened to the previous, or any of the previous, I don't know which ones you've listened to, is there anyone that you kind of like want to chime in on, or maybe change your perception? I don't know. What are your thoughts on the podcast? Because
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, like, I had a conversation with Benji over text about how, like, podcasts, they came out for me at a really critical time. Like, I would bike to school.
Yeah.
And that was about 4 miles. And I thought, hey, that's a pretty good toss-up from $4, or $8 to park at the U of A parking lot for a day. That's $8 a day.
Jesus. And
so I'd be actually doing 4 miles to and 4 miles from, so that'd be like 8 miles a day. So it was averaging out the math and like, okay, I can do this. And the podcast really helped out. I really, really gravitated to comedy, and I was hooked. And ever since then, like, I have these conversations about what they were talking about with my friends, and just kind of go off their topics and discuss in length about what it means to me. And then, I think it's a really, really beneficial medium because, shit, I mean, what else are we gonna do? And there's some really insightful shit that can come out as you're going along, and I have to just, like, go off of memories of these actual conversations taking place where I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember this one time, like, you guys talking about, I think it was road trips?
Yeah.
And I was telling Benji about this time where he picked me and my dad up, and he was with Joelle, and everybody was lit up. Everybody was, like, lit. And we all needed to take a pee break, and we pulled over at the 3 points, what is it? It's just this cement slab of a bathroom stop. And everybody went running into the bushes, and I was, like, the last one to get out, right? So by the time I got out, everybody was climbing back in the car, and I remember hearing, because it was a spotlight from the car, somebody was saying, the chupacabra! Did you see that? There's a chupacabra! There's something on the stairs! Meg! There's something out there! I was, like, popping the squad in the bushes, like, fucking assholes. And I was mad, but relieved. And then we got back in. And the whole ride, I barely remember the whole ride, but when we dropped off Joelle, I remember that was pretty funny. And, like, there he goes. God's own prototype. Never reconsider for reproduction.
Yeah.
Mass reproduction. Too rare to live. Oh, is it too dangerous to live, too rare to die? We bid him a good night, and then we dropped us off. I remember that was a pretty good time.
Yeah.
I'm being rude.
No, definitely. That throw Joel in a car and let him go. You know.
Yeah. Or on your couch.
Yeah. Either way.
Oh, dude! Remember the time when you took that little red car and we all piled in, and you were like, "I found a cool road! I found a real cool road!" And it was called Painted Hills Road. And we drove up onto Anklum into those up and down hills, windy roads, and then we ended up on Painted Hill. And your little car, man, it's a little car, a little engine that could.
Yeah.
It hit that real deep dive into the Painted Hills Road. And all of us went screaming, flying up into the air.
Yes.
That was great.
No, I used to love driving in those hills out there.
Yeah.
Just like we were just outside of them on Star Pass, and I used to explore all those little back roads. You know, you go cruising.
Yeah.
And I had that little car, so like the little car, you know, it's all right if you drive a little crazy. You know, it's like I'll just replace it with another $500 or something. Like, it's all good. But yeah, those are good times. Good times.
Yeah, they were. These poor cars, man.
Yeah, damn.
I remember all the cars.
I think that could be the next podcast. So the past cars we've gone through, or further where we started out versus where we're at now. Well, I'm trying to get a car right now, so.
Yeah, you can say that.
I'm still looking on the hunt. But I think something's going to come through pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
So, but, yeah.
So, yeah, definitely that, and the road trip, and, I guess just relative to what was happening at the time with the riot, you guys talking about the riot, and the divisiveness that the media is putting out, and kind of fueling the people's rage, whichever rage they're taking. Yeah. And it's just from this perspective, because I never really was involved in politics. I didn't even vote till recently. It took this for me to vote. That was just bullshit to vote. And I had to do some legwork, you know? I had to find old addresses, and I had to switch some things around. So it was a big deal for me to take the time to get my shit together and vote. But I have a coworker that we sit together kind of like this and have our meetings where we're supposed to have with students, but there's a lot of students who don't make it, right? So there's a lot of times we're sitting there waiting for people, but they never show up. So we sit there and we have these conversations, and she has a few degrees, I think. She started off as I think she was a music major, and then she got into religious studies, and that's what she graduated with. And now she's getting her second bachelor's or third bachelor's in history. So she's learning a lot about like the government and how the United States formed its government, and have these questions, and she just kind of talks about the books she's reading, and I'm learning a lot from her about just the terminology and shit, and it makes me feel like I'm growing up, I'm getting older, and this is important stuff. And it sucks because it's all messed up. It's all fucked up. It's this whole the country, I don't even understand where most of these people extremism comes from. And, you know, for the record, using leftist, I mean, as a left-hander, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of, like, I want to clutch my pearls. Like, why are you saying leftist like it's a bad thing? I only know what I know, and I only see and understand as far as my level of understanding will take me. But this is like people calling each other names, you know, and sticking to
taking sides.
One phrase kind of stance on, like, okay, I'm calling you this so everybody knows what this means.
Yeah.
But there's so many, like, definitions people are making because of social media and just creating, like, splices and splicing of different definitions of things, and it's making everybody crazy. And I don't understand a lot of it. Yeah. But I'm trying, and I as a Native person, I really, really, really just do not agree with a lot of stuff. But knowing in the position that we're in, I think from a previous episode, Lina said that we're boxed in as a community. Our nation is boxed in, and it is. We have a lot of decisions to make with the several governments, like the Mexico government and the United States government and the Arizona government. And if we don't
we're smack dab in the middle of it.
Yeah, if we don't know our shit, they're just going to keep on lying to us. and the fucking fees go up, and cost of living, and poverty, and everything just stays the same. And as a Native person, I don't agree with that either. I can't allow that to happen to me, and I won't allow that to happen if I can help it.
That's good. Now that's a fight. That's a fight I can get behind.
Oh yeah, you know, with the same age, we have to consider all of the positions that are in our field. You know, what we're supposed to take part in as just adulting, as a part of being an adult. It's either that or be complicit and let things just happen to us. And that's been happening since high school, man. Like ever since that fucking 9/11 shit happened, you know, it's changed the game on going home every day.
Yeah. Yeah, they like we were talking about Border Patrols, like they're kind of like an extension of the government that we see on a daily basis, and they went out there and started setting up their roadblocks under different names. And then little by little they started, you know, bringing more stuff out, and it just, you know, you keep going, oh well, this is temporary. That's how it starts. It's like, all right, this is just a temporary thing. It's like, okay, all right, we're gonna do this now, and then they bring out a little more, and it's just like, oh yeah, we just needed a little more light. You know, we need to be a little warmer out here, but this is all just temporary. I'm like, cool, all right. And then I went out there one day, and they had the cement basins going in for that big old ramada they added. And I remember seeing just the cement. It was before they put up the ramada, and I was just like, holy shit, they're digging in. Like, oh fuck, they're not going anywhere. They're just getting bigger and bigger, and it's I really like the analogy of the frog in the pot. I always go back to that. It's the, you know, if you want to cook a frog, you can't just take a frog and throw it in a pot of boiling water. The frog will jump out immediately. And if you just turn up the heat just little by little, the frog will chill in the water and just die, like get cooked up, because it thinks it's okay until it's not okay. And I like bringing that up because that's not just on the res, but across the nation. This type of inching forward mentality that's going on, like, you know, little by little they're going to take everything. And I think what a lot of people think when they think about natives is like we're like the we're like a shameful reminder of the truth of how this nation was built. And when a lot of Americans talk about natives, it's like us and them. And really, I was talking to, I bring this up all the time, is that we all bought into the pie. Natives fought in the war for the United States. Like we're bought in, we're citizens, we're grandfathered in, we're here, and we're still here. And for people to think that we're not part of the pie is just fooling themselves, and at the same time, we should all be gathered together and realizing what's really going on. Like, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable from our government, and it's all of our government. And even when I think about tribal sovereignty, it's like all of our laws, like they were started early on, and they were based off of the government. So it's like, okay, this is what the government's doing, so we're gonna mirror that, we're gonna copy that and do that too.
Yep.
And
the dinosaur version.
yeah, exactly. So even as we grow up, our own government isn't really our government. It's based off of a pre-existing government, and we see where that's leading. It's a slippery slope. If you know what I mean, like we're.
Hell yeah.
And we're all in it. Like I think a lot of people. When I say people, I mean American citizens. We're all American citizens, but we're still treated as us and them, and we're kind of like a shameful reminder of the reality. And we're not going anywhere. We weren't killed off. We're still here. Everywhere, like across the nation, and we're scared too. Like they should be scared, and we should be scared because we're all in it, and we're if we don't pay attention, it could all go away.
Absolutely.
I'm getting kind of heavy, I guess.
You guys ever seen B-Movie?
What is it?
B-Movie with the cartoon with Seinfeld.
Oh, Seinfeld, yeah.
Barry Seinfeld. Isn't that Barry?
Yeah. But like there's that part where they're like trying to pick their job that they're gonna do for the rest of their life, and it's like they're Seinfeld's kind of like that's like kind of goes off. He doesn't want to do what's expected of him, but.
Yeah.
That fight that Meg's talking about, I think that's like we're all kind of doing our like little role to do that. But I think sometimes we compare ourselves to what other people are doing, and we're kind of like, oh, they're doing something more significant, or I'm not doing something that exciting, or I don't know. It's just. Yeah, that's how I feel. Like we're all trying to find our place in the process, but yeah, it's all in the greater good of like this fight that I guess this fight over like justice, or I don't know, but
yeah, just depends on the game.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on what place you're in society, I guess, or what you're choosing to do. Because there's some people that are kind of like asleep.
Yeah.
Like the nostalgia of the res, it's there, and it's just kind of caked on the walls everywhere. It's even in the air if you get up early enough. The nostalgia of the BIA compound. You can smell it. You can smell the nostalgia of the 50s in the carpet, and you can, the bureaucracy that came with all of the people, that instilled the BIA and carried through. there's some books out there that I've read, and it just kind of gave me a kind of an understanding of how the reservation formed, and then how people adhered to the social norms that came and centered itself around the economy and the governments, and religion and order of family and values, whether they be Catholic or Protestant or whatever was booming then. So there seems to be it's like a game, it's like a chessboard or something where, you know, we're all, it just kind of we're moving around, and it depends on what we're landing on and what the cards say. I don't know, I'm rambling on.
No, you're making sense. It's like you're playing chess, but someone gave you a deck of cards and you got to
like getting a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. You know.
Shit.
Shit pudding. A lovely bowl of shit pudding.
Nice.
I interned at this museum, the Jewish History Museum, and it gave me a sense of understanding around the history of Tucson. And the kind of the West, how the West started around Tucson, and the societies that came through, like around the 1860s, and what the awesome, you know, what they were doing during that time, what they were trying to accomplish in the time that was changing, and it makes sense, you know, for how we came to this point, and I never thought about this, like, as far as defining things, but, like, ever think about the word reservation? Like, for us and the government language and the terminology, like, what that means and what being called wards of the state means?
Yeah.
It's, like, displacing. It's dehumanizing, and it's scary.
Yeah.
And that's a history, a long history that is still in the book. We should be worried.
Yeah.
It's just something to consider as we're getting older, you know. Where are we going, and what direction do we want to go? And being just aware, being awake.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, we're like, some people are asleep to all of this stuff going on, or just don't want to look.
Oh, yeah.
I'm rambling. Sorry.
No, it's thought provoking there. I think you and I talked about it. I think me and Sky have talked about it. I always find it interesting how all these jobs that were going on around us as kids, they're being filled with people from our generation.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to take over these positions that maybe the people before us, their predecessors, are they're getting older, and some of them can't carry on the positions. So we got younger generations coming up and taking them on, and that makes me real proud. Like people I know, people I'm related to, they're taking like important jobs, like the Autumn language class, and I would like to see a principal. Well, we Juan, he's doing the education.
Right.
Yeah, he's a part of that, so he took on that position. Sky here was on scholarship. He was sending our kids to school, and he was also right now he's taking care of the kids. I think he's kind of like a caseworker. Well, in my mind, he's like a caseworker for troubled teens, or maybe not even trouble, but that they might need help getting where they're going. And then I think you did a little bit of you did the same thing, right? Social work.
Mhm.
And Mia gets to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wicked.
I'm headed out there, and it's crossing my mind. I always talk about it, and I really think it started with Dr. Whitty's program. Like, medicine is in my life, and I haven't been exploring it lately, and I keep, in my heart of hearts, want to go back and work on the res. Like, I worked for the res firefighting, wildland firefighting, and that was that was rewarding. As like, what I'm saying is we're all playing parts in the community now, and in my heart of hearts, I'd like to do that again, like maybe on an ambulance down on the res, and I don't know what I'm getting at. Well, I guess what I was getting at is that it makes me proud to hear all of our stories. I like hearing you guys talk about. It was a very adult thing of both of you to have these jobs where they weren't just like, oh, I'm serving food, or which, hey, it's a noble profession. People got to eat. But I'm saying,
right.
I guess I'm insulting everybody at this point. I'm saying there's levels of jobs out there that aren't traditionally filled by natives. The outsiders had to come in and do some of these jobs, and I like that we're taking them, that we're stepping up. You guys have stepped up, and there's kids out there in the res. Like Sky's got his basketball program too, with the kids, and you guys have reached out and enriched the lives of kids around you, and now they're gonna go on and do the same. So, and that's like teachers' roles, You guys have taken on the roles of teachers and mentors, and I think it's exciting, like at least along the lines of what you're talking about, of waking up and participating in the community.
Yeah, and, like do no harm. That's like the number one rule.
Well, yeah. Hopefully that's in our minds somewhere.
Right. And I think like what helps too is like having a lot of the role models set the bar. I mean, I know like where I come from, backgrounds in education too. Like I have my grandparents; they're my pillars of role modeling. So any time that I want to make a bad decision, I would think like, well, would they think it was good of me to do that? Would I regret it later? Well, my grandpa think. Yep. And that's how kind of steer the direction of where I'm at, like I never ever thought I'd be in a high school ever again, like
you were trying to get out of high school.
Get along with any of these kids. Well, it's just like, I just never really got it. Like, I don't understand kids too well. Even try to learn, go to school and learn. And now I'm kind of getting an understanding, but I had to, like, figure shit out, like, that I'm uncomfortable doing. Was never comfortable being around kids. And just kind of like that, learning on the fly how to deal with shit.
Yeah.
And then walking away like, oh, I can do that. I can do that next time if I have to.
Yeah.
Learning on the fly, I like that.
Have to.
That's a...
So, what?
Go ahead, brother.
Nah, I didn't have anything. I was just filling the space.
That's my man right there, people. This is why you're my man, dude. This is why we're doing this.
Oh yeah, just like all the time.
Yeah, no, it feels good.
What I always remember about Meg and from like high school days is you and Bob just like line for line quoting movies. Like
I watched a lot of movies.
we talk a lot. We talk a lot of movies on the podcast. I don't know why. If it's just a native thing, or if we just I don't know what it is, but like we talk a lot about film and stuff. But like, what do you? I guess how are you watching your movies now? Like, you going like how do you? Yeah, because we all like. With music too, we all do music differently now in this age. Like, what are you doing with your like Netflix, Hulu? Like, what
right. I do Hulu and Prime and YouTube. A lot of YouTube. Just recently, okay, can I tell you guys something really weird, but it's funny at the same time? I like David Tell, right? You guys know David Tell?
Yeah, no, he's great.
Hilarious, bro. Hilarious. And recently, like on the YouTube, you know, when they have the algorithm down, they'll show you what you want to watch, right?
Yeah.
So David Tell popping up on the algorithm a lot. And so I watched an interview with him and Conan, right? Conan's another one. He pops up on the algorithm a lot. And it was hilarious. He was really excited. And, you know, now David Tell's, like, older 50s. He's kind of tired. He's doing bumping mics, but he's, like, you know, he's just roasting people now. He's not even trying. But at the same time, during this I had to be, like, early to mid-90s, I want to say. He made the show. I was really excited about it. He was telling Conan, he was bouncing up and down in his chair. And he's like, I got all kinds of people to come on the show, and it's called David Tell's Old Porn. Or Old Porn David Tell. Something like that. But it's so funny, and it's like a diamond in the rough. Like, if you thought you saw everything, here's this. And it's great. And I thought it was really funny. He described it, because, of course, Conan, he's like, kind of vanilla about most things. He acts vanilla. He's like, porn, really? And he's like, yeah, but it's incredibly old porn.
Yes.
Right? So we're talking 70s Bush. We're talking, like, strange positions. And he's just packing it up really good in that he has a bunch of guests come on. And so I look it up. And one that I have access to is, because you got to buy some of them. But one that's out there is, an interview with Bill Burr. And,
I'd like to see that.
Right. It's the diamond in the rough. And one of the porn stars that's shown throughout the whole episode. She's like the star, basically, of the whole episode with Bill Burr. So at one point she comes into, he's sitting on a red couch. And he's also describing, going back to Conan, he was describing, like, they can't really show the whole thing on television, so they have, like, this green screen, and, like, they do their little visual effects, and the couch hides a lot of the content. So on the show, they're all sitting on this red couch, and there's all kinds of, like, porn going on in the background, and you can hear it, and it's everybody's moving around and stuff, and Dave gets to ask her questions and kind of riff back and forth with Bill Burr. It's so great. It's so hilarious. I highly recommend it. I mean, it's just, you know, it's boring, you know. Things are boring right now. Can't go out too much. So, I watch a lot of YouTube. And just recently, this show I got into, I like Greg Garcia. He's a director. Right? You guys heard of him?
What does he direct?
So he made My Name is Earl, and he made Yes Dear, and Raising Hope, and just recently he made this show called The Guest Book. It's really good. Check it out. Free advertising on Hulu. And it's like, if you like those shows, you're gonna like The Guest Book. So I'm into that right now.
No, that was a good list of shows.
Right? That guy is talented. And if you're looking into podcasts, he does quite a few with, like, Joey Diaz I think he does. Oh, he does one with Josh Wolf. He's another guy who shows up in his shows. Yeah.
Nice.
Sweet.
How about you?
I started watching this show called Broad City. It's on Hulu.
Oh yeah, that's a good show.
Pretty good, but you know what's weird is Hulu, they got these old shows like 80s, 70s, and I don't know why. I think I just wanted to go to the 70s, but I've been watching Mary Tyler Moore show, which is I've been getting into it, so I watch that when I go to sleep.
Wow.
Nice. Well,
it's not a new show, it's an old show, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the spirit of like old school, like Cloris Leachman, she passed away recently, and she was like the greatest comedian, like comic actress.
Yeah.
And she was in, what is it, Raising Hope. She came in Young Frankenstein and Laverne and Shirley.
Dang.
You're talking about the grandmother on the show, Raising Hope?
Mama.
Yeah. I love that lady. That lady's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
No, she was cracking me up on that show. And
she was so great. Just the things like her cameos. She came on I think she came on some of the roasts, like Jeff Ross when he roasted like Hefner and others. I can't remember. I saw Jeff Ross live in a comedy tour. That was Max's first comedy show. It was this comedy like tour with a bunch of comedians.
Who were the headliners?
So I remember. I'll tell you who I remember. Was Jeff Ross, Eliza Keitzsinger, I think is how you say his last name. Joey Diaz was there, and he never does Sunday shows. And that was cool. Tom Segura, and oh man,
I'm really into Segura stuff too right now.
Oh my god, he does a really, really good bit about cussing in church.
About what?
Cussing in church, or this kid who had Tourette syndrome, and he was cussing in church. And nobody said anything, so he was just cracking up the whole time, like, what the hell's wrong with this kid?
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
Oh. The only time it's appropriate to cuss in church is Tourette's.
What are you supposed to do? Like, you can't do anything, man. You can't nudge him, can you? It's just keep your head down.
Remember that show MTV Real Life or True Life, where they would like follow people in certain professions.
Yeah, that was crazy.
There was one where it was I have Tourette's. And the only reason I know what Tourette's was there was a Nirvana song called Tourette's, and I was like, oh, okay, this is it. But yeah, no. Continue, Meg.
TV, yeah, I remember quoting a lot of TV and a lot of movies sitting across from Betty because it was really boring in the morning, and watch a lot of the same shows.
It's that long bus ride home, going out.
Long bus rides home.
Just bored as fuck and wanting to just talk about anything. Freaking movies.
Village Life. I was the last one to get off the bus, yo.
Oh, damn.
Crazy. Every morning I was the first one to get on and the last one to get off.
Wap, 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 wap,
It's like dedication without wanting to be dedicated.
That's Village Life. You don't even know where you're going. Sometimes they'll just take you back home.
I remember, like in the winter, you'll be going to school in the dark. Like,
yeah.
You won't see nobody in the bus. It's just pitch black.
All colors and shit.
Yeah, freezing your ass off on the side of the road, yeah.
I went to a community meeting recently, and, going back to what you were saying about how, like, people our age are filling in now.
Yeah.
And that's happening, like, for our community. Like, I know you know some of those dudes.
Yeah.
And one of them, he was saying, yeah, I don't know, like, if, like, he threw our names out. Like, if you, Megan, or Clayton, or, my sisters and brothers, when we were standing out there, was right talking, he was like, we used to watch these Mexicans running across the road. Like, what the fuck? They just be running, just trekking across the road. And that was just a daily occurrence, we got used to that. And the whole point of why he mentioned that was because we were talking as a community about the history of how just organized community watch started, and how, like, policing in the community through the community started and formed and organized, but things just got worse. It was good times.
We're gonna have to come back and make that like our next episode when you return, right? You're coming back?
For sure, man.
Yeah,
you have my number.
Yeah, this is good. This was good. I've enjoyed this.
Introduction.
Yeah, intro to Meg here.
Aww.
I did say your name, right?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I just want to make sure because like I don't quite remember. I was kind of rushed until we got in.
No worries, bro. I'm just glad to be talking to you again. It's been too long.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And, like, I'm getting old. I need to just, do some, just mending and, like, healing, and just giving good energy to all urologists. Because it's really rough times, and everybody's going through different stuff and losses and stuff, and I don't want anyone to think, like, if this was my last day on Earth, I don't want you guys to think, like, I had any ill will towards anyone.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be cool. I used to be a really angry person, remember, so I have a lot of reconciliation to do.
Yeah. Well, that's another episode too. That's the reconciliation episode where we just start calling out names.
I regret nothing.
It's not.
No, go ahead, bro.
Well, I don't want to say it was anger. I think it was just joy wrapped in anger.
I didn't know that was a thing. I'm going to start saying that.
But, I mean, I think when we get older, we start to have to look ourselves in the mirror and be realistic how shit is.
Need that shit pudding.
All that pride, that pride up.
Oh, yeah.
But it's cool that you signed up for today, and hopefully you sign up again, because there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about, but that's good. Just good to just
it's a good start.
Yeah,
we'll definitely do this again. I don't know if you're catching wind here. We got to wind this down. I got to get ready for work.
Right.
Yeah, I would definitely like to do this again, Meg. We can we can talk later about when and where, and maybe we'll have a subject that we'll go off of. Something we can touch on.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Sometime soon, I'd like to talk about sobriety / alcohol. All right, there's a whole, well, there's plenty of episodes to come, guys. Anybody who's listening out there. I've enjoyed this, guys, and I think we can wrap this up here. And you know, hell, let's stay in touch and let's keep our minds open for whatever's gonna come down the road here. I think something's coming. You know.
Mhm.
The winter's coming and it's full of darkness.
It is foggy.
Yeah.
It is light and foggy.
Very dark. All right, I'm gonna hit the big red button. Any last words?
Later. Thank you. Love you guys. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Keep stepping.
Keep on listening.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.